Mr. Rommel Carlos, founder of Arcus Games. We have Mr. Yuen Wong, founder of Jam's esports platform. And last but not least, Ms. Joanna Zhang, Senior Manager, Newman Cyber Security. So I'll leave it over to you, Ms. Myrtle.
Yeah, so this is an exciting panel for me. So of course, let's go ahead and start the first question. So I'll start first with Joanna. So with a lot of play-to-earn games and projects entering the market, and many have failed, right? And then of course, how do projects create a sustainable play-to-earn game that can last long-term?
Okay, thanks for your questions. So, hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Joanna from the Newman Cyber Technology. So, we are a cybersecurity company based in Singapore. So, for these questions from my perspective, I understand that so far for the play-to-gain games that have some problems with my currently in the market, like they may find some scams or they link some to it's attractive to attract the users to keep using that. So from my perspective, I think to sustainable development of such play-to-earn games, we can from first perspective, we need to think about how to develop attractive content about the gaming. Meanwhile, we need to pay more attention to about the blockchain technology development. Like more and more people to know the blockchain and play to run games, and then gradually we will develop the more interesting games, allow them to do and attractive users to play on that. Then we can have more valuables will come out. Meanwhile, we also need to think about how we will be guarantee and secure the users' size, especially in the games. Yeah, then they will reduce their concerns. That will gradually to reduce their concern, and then will attractive and guarantee the play to game even for the NFT games keep development. Yeah, that is just my opinion. Yeah, for this question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, and mind that, guys, she's highlighting security, cyber security when it comes to games, okay? Thank you so much. Let's go with Yuen.
Hi guys, actually I don't know why I'm here, in Zouk, my favorite childhood club. So yeah, I wear a few hats, So I'm a managing partner of a Bitmarks Exchange, and I'm also the founder of a Labs Group. We are in digitized real estate investment platform. So we launched our blockchain project quite a few years ago. And so why am I here, right? So through some coincidence, we got the chance to invest in esports hotel. So we'll be having the first one in Bugis Village next month. So I think this is something really interesting. So the first esports hotel in Singapore. And then we'll have our second one in Orchard Road, Carpage Terrace, and then one more in Cambodia and Malaysia. So because of that, I told my partners, right, like if you only have the hardware without the software, you can only be the burger shop and never a McDonald's, right? And everybody loves McDonald's, right? So I told my other founding partners, we need to have a Gamefi platform. So that's why we started GEMS, esports 3.0 platform. We want to make blockchain games the next esports, right? And I was at the conference yesterday. The MAS boss came to my booth and asked, what can your tokens be used for, right? I said, oh, you can use for NFT renting, lease to buy, membership, esports module. And then I said something that I think I was not supposed to say to the MAS boss. I said, we also want to do esports betting. Okay, so maybe not right, but I really don't care. Okay, so for games, how to make it exciting? We think you need to have some interesting elements like the competitiveness in it, right? So that's why we also want to have different locations so that Malaysia can compete. Malaysia can compete with Vietnam, Singapore versus for example, Cambodia and all this, right? I see someone like near my age, right? So you guys remember Malaysia Cup football? Like when it was Singapore versus some Malaysia team, right? We were like, we are so excited, right? So I think games, first of all, need to be exciting, engaging, interesting. So I do believe that play to earn might need to be evolved into play and earn. Yeah. So that's my take. Thank you so much.
Thank you for highlighting that GameFi needs to be play and earn. I mean, it needs to be fun, So it's not a job, it's not a requirement, but you need to have fun when it comes to GameFi. Let's hear from Rommel. Carlos.
All right, thank you. For me, when I created my game, when I started it 5 months ago, so we're still on the development stage. So we need to go back in the intent. Why decentralization was created? Why game was created? And then we ask ourselves. So first, decentralization was created for our freedom, also for ownership. And then game was created to have fun. I totally agree with what he said, that it should be collaborative, fun, engaging. Way back 1990s, we don't have that much internet. Internet's not that popular, right? It's just getting started. That we already have here in Philippines. We have this computer shop, we call, that we go in the computer shop, we play with our friends, we collaborate with them. It's a LAN base. We spend money to enjoy ourselves, forget about the world, and I think we need to go back on that before we create some project. And then when I started the project, I'm also an entrepreneur with multiple businesses in Philippines, traditional. We need to build our product with advocacy, passion, and love for what we're doing, and then scale it. Once we scale it, we need to create the elements of what are the things that matters in order for us to sustain it. Because after all, when Bitcoin was created for the decentralization, it's there to disrupt the system. And when GameFi was created, it should be disrupting the system. We need to create a quality, because people, when they look at it, GameFi now is kind of like when they heard about GameFi, it's a scam. So how can we change it? Let's create a sustainable product, fun product, and also the quality. We need to bring back the quality that we're better in the Web2, and not just a crappy play to earn that's to milk money from the people. So I think that's it for me in order to play that.
Such valuable comments there. So let's hear from Lucky.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not from any gaming project, but I'm an influencer based in India. I'm in the market for over 6 years, so I have seen all the roller coaster ride and all the thin and thick times in the cryptocurrency. And by seeing all these like Metaverse projects, NFTs evolving in the space, Web3, and all those great projects, we can see like market is evolving so much. And to make it more sustainable in the GameFi space, but I think developers should more focus on the gaming elements, how it can be used, how it can be more fun to the users, so user can come again and again and they make fun of it. Because if they are here to make money, it's not the priority for them, because for money they can do the other jobs. Priority for gaming projects is fun. If they get the fun, they will come again and they will play it again, right? So this is the let's make it this way to make the gaming more sustainable. It should be valuable to the market, right? It should be more fun, it should be playable, and there should be NFT gaming cards. And the best thing about the GameFi and the ownership, because what we see is in India, PUBG was the big game, but it was banned a while back. So all the PUBG players and all the who are dependent on the gaming, it was banned there. But right now, if GameFi industry evolves, decentralization, we get the control. Players get the control in the ownership, and they can sell it by their own ways. They can use it in the multiple different projects. So I think there will be a big, huge pump in the gaming industry in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can still remember our partner Avisa Gaming Guilds. They're from India as well. They're really into heavily GameFi. So let's hear from Vincent from AC Capital.
Hey guys, this is Vincent from AC Capital. So as you guys can see from the name suggestion that we are a VC, and VC is greedy and greedy is good in a way. Why is that? It's because we actually care about our portfolios. We want them to survive as long as possible, at least as long as we can break even from that investment. All right. So let's come back to the topic that we are talking about. How to really make GameFi projects sustainable. Actually, if you're not talking about a GameFi, you're talking about a game. It's actually pretty easy for a game to be sustainable. Why is that? It's because a game is sustainable as long as people are still downloading the game or playing the game. It is dead until no one is playing it. So that's how long it's sustainable. But when you have GameFi, it's a financial part. Then we are suddenly talking about the sustainability issue. The reason for that is GameFi, the components, how we are activating the financial part is we are most commonly that we are using inflationary tokenomics, right? So for inflationary tokenomics, then we can use the tokens generated from playing the games to kind of like subsidize or reward people for playing the game or certain kind of behaviors. That's what is suggested by the definition of the GameFi. So from the face value, if you have an inflationary tokenomics, if your inflation is not absorbed by some positive externality or basically some supply that people are willing to kind of pay their token for without expecting a return, then basically your inflation is going to gradually grow into a hyperinflation. And what is the result for hyperinflation? Check out Zimbabwe back in like 20 years ago. They had like a vicious kind of a hyperinflation and it was killing their local currency. Now the country is surviving on dollars, right? So it's that bad. So it can eventually kill your entire tokenomics. And that's why we're talking about, this is probably not going to be sustainable, right? So there are basically two ways, technically speaking, that you can really curb the inflation. One is the consumption or consumerism. Let's think about a game that the final goal, the ultimate goal of playing the game is to achieve something luxurious that you're willing to hold for the long term. Like for example, if I tell you that here's a game, you play the game. The final goal of the playing game is to win the top 10 spots every single quarter that you can get BAYC NFT. Would you like to hold or you want to get it and sell for quick bucks? I believe that most of the people, their choice is to hold it because BAYC is something that you can flex, right? Like a digital Rolex. So people will like to hold it, even the price go up and down, doesn't really matter, right? A lot of people will still use that for their PFP. Even if you're like a project owner, right? You want to pitch to VCs for investment. If you're using your own kind of like a BAYC as a PFP, your success rate is suddenly miraculously getting higher than others. I just tell you that's the value of having something luxurious people want to hold for the long term as the goal of your game. The reasonation behind the whole idea is that there is a bubble created by the inflationary tokenomics for sure, but because the end users, they're willingly keeping the bubble with them. They're not selling this or to the next person, expecting a bigger fool to pay for it. So the bubble is staying with them willingly. So there is going to be okay. That is going to be okay. Just like you have a property. you have a artifact, right? If you're not selling the artifact, or basically you cannot find the next buyer of your stake, then you're screwed, or basically the bubble is staying with you. But is that okay? Do you feel okay? If you feel okay, that's fine, right? So this is one of the logic. You basically become a consumer rather than an investor. At least you perceive so. So this is the one way. The second way is way more brutally direct. Is to make your game a zero-sum game or even a negative-sum game, aka casino, right? So if at the end of the day you want to cash out, okay, so let's play the Russian roulette, or basically let's play the Texas poker or something similar, that kind of mechanism. Finally, there's only one winner and a winner takes all. Probably the winner is going to pay some tax to the casino itself. If that is your game, okay, fair enough. There isn't going to be any inflationary tokenomics or basically any inflationary rewards, because everything at the end of the day, that's a zero-sum game. There is no going to be any inflation at all in this mechanism. So it's basically either way. If you're just talking about the tokenomics, I'm not saying that you have to sacrifice your playability, the quality of the game, just to make your game a casino or something like that. If you can have a nice combination of the two, right? If you can balance, on one side you have some of the audience to have some fun, and on the other side you do make the earners earn. This is basically the true reality of the nowadays Web3. Web3 is full of people with higher tendency towards speculation. People are born degen to join Web3. That's a reality. But it doesn't mean their life is only about being degen, being gambling, right? Just like a move-turn games like Step In. They have kind of like achieved something that other games haven't, which is to focus on one need for Web3 native people. They are not just the animals sitting in front of the trading desk all the time. They have to go outside, have some live run for their health, something like that, which is great, right? They find a niche that other people didn't actually realize it exists. So this is my 2 cents on how to make a game sustainable in a way. Thanks.
That's a great insight. He's also our advisor for PlaySmart and AFK DAO. That's why I really trust him. And you can see the answer is really, really awesome. So let's proceed to the next question. So what are the challenges faced by GameFi, and what are some solutions which may help? Anyone can answer? Yuen.
Just like I said that I might not be the best person here because I'm not really a gamer. So yeah, but I went quite crazy last year. I went quite degen and I invested in over 70 projects last year. So last year I thought I was, I know Lucky knows me, right? So last year I thought I was very rich, right? And I was like, oh wow, right? But this year I felt so poor. It's like, oh fuck, right? Pardon my language, yeah. But that's my true feeling, yeah. So, sorry, what was the question? Challenges, yeah. So, when you look at a lot of GameFi projects, right, yeah, unfortunately speaking, most of them, from how I see it, almost like a Ponzi, right? Even Step In and all this, until you figure out a way that you really make the games really interesting, fun to play, engaging. If not, the finance part usually, takes over the gaming part. So I asked my team, because we do have a team that helped me research on some games, right? I said, look, how is it fun, that game? Because the valuation was so high and all this. They said, no, it's boring. But people just click and try to make some money, right? So I think that's the most challenging part, yeah. Even Step In, I went to Bali for a trip, I look at, some of the foreign guys beside me, right? They were taking the mobile phone and keep doing this, right? I said, what are you doing? And then he was telling me that, they make like 3,000 USD per month. I said, wow, that's good money living in Bali, right? Yeah. But the way I see it, until one day, Step N figure out a way to deliver value, right? And people find it engaging. If not, at this stage, I hate to say that it might still be perceived as a financial game, right? So the fun, the value is always what you need to really, value on, yeah. And by the way, I also invested in EFK DAO, so yeah. That's why I'm lucky, right, with my friend Lucky here. Yeah. Thanks, yeah.
Okay. So let's hear from Joanna.
Yeah, thanks. So for this point about the challenge about GameFi, I want to, based on that, to add one point from the cybersecurity perspective. So when we talk about the challenges, I can say we cannot avoid the security part, as what Vincent just explained. GameFi is part of the financial related. So once we involve in the GameFi, we must talk about the finance, the payments, our assets. Right? So how would we guarantee when we do these things to guarantee our assets is safe? So that is a very important challenges we face currently. So for this one, from cybersecurity perspective, I think we must be to do the security check and auditing before we onboard the GameFi project. So like do the auditing to find the vulnerabilities first, to solve this vulnerability before your projects are on board. Then that will be most important, and I think will be 70% more to guarantee the project is safe enough and avoid the attacking. Afterwards, once on board, we also cannot avoid this security actions. You need also to keep doing the monitoring and find the chain security, the vulnerabilities, and then solve it and or it quickly. Then for that attack risks timely, then that will help you to avoid attacking or be efficient. So that will be help to protect users' digital assets. Once we protect your users, the assets safely, then I think that will also be good to encourage this GameFi industry development. Yeah, that is my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from the founder of Arcus, of course.
For me, the challenge right now is really people really skeptical in jumping into GameFi. Why? Because of the previous projects, right? So a lot of you probably jump in during the hype of the P2E, right? Here. You learn a lot. You earn a lot. No, well, me too. I actually jumped into play to earn, but I exit early before all the bear markets come in. And then I think now the challenge is the user acquisition. How we can acquire these 3 billion Web2 traditional gamers to play in a GameFi. So we really need to step up our game, disrupt the system, and that's what Arcus is actually doing right now. That we are here to disrupt the system, create a quality product, a gameable game that people can enjoy and not really thinking about the earnings. And earning is just a tip of the iceberg. And that we really need to focus on giving back to the community what they deserve. Because they're investing on us, they're putting their money on us, and why we need to give them a project. Then after 2-3 months it will die. I think let's go back to that sense of responsibility and accountability that we really need to give them a quality product, which is really a playable, enjoyable, collaborative games and competitive enough, right? I think Diablo game, Counter-Strike game still been here for about how many years now, right? I played that game, Counter-Strike, during 1990s. I compete with other players. I joined tournaments also. We spend money, spend hours, 8 hours playing, training our skills. But I think we really need to create that fundamentals in the GameFi project in order to make it more sustainability and resolve these challenges.
Well, I completely agree because playing League of Legends way back 2015 and buying skins, I don't know how much I spent already. So yeah, I've been an ambassador for League of Legends, so I know as a gamer myself, that's the reason why this GameFi industry is really like a gold rush for other investors, to be honest. So let's hear from Lucky. What do you think in a general way, the challenges?
Challenges are the projects are mainly focusing on earning sources, like how they users make money out of the games, how they are sustainable in the market. But if they make the game in that way, that more interesting to the users, and they make, like, there are two important points. There are two ways to make a game sustainable and out of the challenges is, like, one, there are constant new users coming to replace the old ones, and the other one is like to make game in that way. Sorry guys, I'm feeling a bit nervous.
Okay, let's go with Vincent.
That's alright, mate. It's like you get used to this. Like someday later, if you when it's pitch on like DEF CON, Ethereum, CC, that kind of things, it's even bigger events. You'll be okay. All right, guys. So I totally agree with them. Like all the other guests and the speakers about the sustainability, playability issues. Yes, definitely. Many of the games they are basically shit. Sorry about that, but it's exactly what it is. But I mean, we also there is one thing that we cannot just ignore, which is the audience. Right, like who you're talking to. Like if you build the project, right? You build a product, definitely it's like end user oriented. And who are your end users? What are they like? What are the profile users you have, right? So if they are pigeons, if they first, like test it out because I can make money. If that's your initial motivation, okay, good on them. If that's the case, then you have to respect it. This is the market that you are in, right? Your marketing budget is well spent on these kind of people. Are they of any use to you, or they are simply just not your ideal kind of a target audience? Then you have to think about two ways. First, if they are like your target audience, then you do need to respect their demand, right? Make something they want, and if you can balance the sustainability of the game or not is your problem. You have to figure it out yourself. If they are not, then you have to seriously think about, are you in the right place, right? If this is a market reality and you don't like it, then the best solution is you don't play in this playground because this is not yours, right? So you have to find some other solutions. So besides that, I think there are two problems which are, I believe, that are first the biggest challenge before we talk about any, serious playability. Because who are doing the best who are delivering the best playability of the game? Blizzard or this kind of like a Web2 giants. I'm sorry, like the Blizzard may not be as good as they used to be, but basically this kind of like very experienced kind of game studios, they are the best. They have worked 20 years or 30 years, if not more, in this field. There is no reason that we coming from, I would say, we Web3 natives, suddenly we overnight we are better than them. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen like that. So if that's the case, we have to first think about what actually differentiates a Web3 game from the more traditional games, right? Is that just the playability, or there's something beyond that? Because people want to own their own game or own something inside the game that they have established an emotional attachment with. They don't want to forgo if the server just closed, or basically if the game is not running well, the operators themselves are not making money. Am I still owning my game? That's the like the biggest challenge or biggest question that all the Web3 game developers need to answer. A second thing is that unfortunately, no matter if you're a traditional game or if you are a Web3 game, I discussed this with Myrtle like early on the AFK DAO project, and this is exactly one reason why we invested in this project also, like and we care so much about this project, and we believe it has some strategic importance. The reason for that is no game can last forever, not even World of Warcraft. See how many DAUs, daily active users now they're having, right? It's like just a fraction of what they used to have 10 years or 20 years ago, right? This is the reality because you cannot be popular forever. That's just how it works. So if that's the case, how can you, because tokens are expected to last forever. This is decentralization, this is immutability, right? It's expected to be lasting forever. Digital assets is there forever, but the game is not. Naturally, it cannot last. Then what kind of solutions do you have to solve this problem? It's interoperability. So you have to break the walls between different games. Even they are built on different platforms. They are, this one's on Unity, that one's on Unreal, some other games on Cocos, whatever engines. But you have to break the wall. At least between the digital assets, make sure they can flow around, right? And find a meaning why you want them to flow around. Because of the traffic, you want players to play across different games, right? This is exactly what's amazed us in the first place about the idea of Web3 gaming, right? So to achieve this kind of interoperability, you need to think about what kind of infrastructure you need to build, right? Like NFT rental. Someone outside the game can rent this NFT, right? Then basically you need the protocol level support, which is something like ERC 4610 or EIP 4907. This kind of like a very underlying kind of protocol supporting this kind of functionalities. You got to have it there. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, right? And also some other kind of like supporting Metaverse kind of functions, like the rendering, right? This kind of technology, it must exist before you can actually talk about the great fancy of the Web3 gaming future. So I think technologically speaking, the infrastructure, interoperability is the biggest challenge that we are facing in the field of Web3 gaming. Thanks.
Good sense, of course. So when it comes to this one, the other challenge that I can think of is really education. Because education, especially in the Philippines, they are just waiting for the pump of SLP, to be honest. And a lot of people doesn't really know how to use MetaMask. So how can we actually portray, or actually us being responsible, how for them to learn what the hell we're doing, right? So to be honest, we need to provide education. That's the challenge when it comes to GameFi. Not just in GameFi, but also blockchain technology. How can you make sleep future understand by the masses? Even other projects, not just in GameFi. We need to make it simple enough for them to make it seamless that we're using blockchain technology. So that's actually, my family uses Binance already. So it's a personal responsibility already. When we're sending P2P, it's Binance. Even my employees, all of them knows how to use Trust Wallet, MetaMask. So it's our own personal responsibility to provide education to the masses. So this goes actually to the next question. Most play-to-earn games cater to only crypto experts, or somewhat people who are knowledgeable, the degens, of course. How then do projects drive mass adoption to gain as many users as possible? Let's start with Joanne.
Repeating.
How can we drive mass adoption, not just in GameFi, but of course as a whole in the blockchain industry?
Okay, for this point, I think First of all, we need to think about, like you said, from maybe the technology perspective, we need to encourage about the educations to have more and more about such engineers from these areas. Then that will be give the chance to develop more funny and stable and safety products, no matter for the game fund or NFT projects. Yeah, meanwhile, besides this one, we also need to think about how would be to encourage the users and know their demands. Yeah, then meanwhile, from the safety perspective, we need to guarantee the safety of the products, then to reduce their concerns. All this actually depends on the technology development, so we also need to have the relevant engineers about that. And meanwhile, we need to think about from the whole high level of the projects from each domains, how would like to interact the users. Also from the safety perspective, how to guarantee our sites will be safety, there will be no rules, and keep monitoring about the market requirements. Yeah, so this is my point. Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, Lumens is actually a cybersecurity
Yeah,
company.
we are a cybersecurity company. We provide the Web3 security services. Yeah, that included like smart contract auditing or on-chain security auditing, and even for the exchange. So if you have any exchanges in the DX, we also can help to protect that safety. You will also have the wallet safety. As you know, in NFT and GameFi, I think they're involved about the wallet you need to do and transform your tokens and do the dealings, transactions in the DX. So yeah, we provide such services can help you to find the vulnerabilities and can provide the solutions to protect your digital assets. So for more details, welcome to our booth. Yeah, and personally, you can also contact me. I can provide more details about that. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And interesting part, actually this one goes to Yuen also. So Yuen, you're all doing many things for gems, right? You're all really doing like an esports hotel. So how can you highlight the lead to mass adoption when it comes to GameFi or the blockchain projects that we're all promoting?
Well, to be practical, first of all, the token price has to go on. Yeah.
We need to bump it, right?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting because I think the problem now is, like what I said, too much emphasis on the earn part, right? So it is very difficult to get the mass market and also things like, like what you said, the challenges are in how to connect MetaMask and all this, right? But I look at the, the floor. I think I'm the oldest guy here, right? I think even like me, old dogs can learn new tricks, right? I think you guys should be, really easy task for you, right? Because speaking from personal experience, right? I have involved in Bitmarks ever since their pitch deck days, all the way here, but unfortunately speaking, I really missed the DeFi train, right? And my friend was telling me, hey, got this YFI, yield farming and all this. I was like, YFI, yield farming, what is this, right? Yeah. So I actually missed the train by not learning, right? So when the GameFi trend came, I really went in hard and learned and all this. But then again, not the best person because a lot of games actually I also don't understand them, right? There's a lot is really like like a money game or financial game, yeah. So yeah, I think mass adoption, we have to try to bridge Web 2 to Web 3, right? That's why GEMS is now holding esports tournament level 2. We are trying to teach the traditional gamers, right? Bridge them. We want to be like somewhere in between a Web 2.5 and get the traditional gamers to understand the beauty of blockchain so that we can distribute the prize money easily, cross-border, and encourage financial inclusion for the bankless also, So I think these are important, right? Because if you go dive straight into Web 3, Web 3 is not really here yet. So there's not even a pool for you to dive in straight away. Yeah. And also for education, unfortunately, we are startup. We are not really there to educate the real mass market, right? Yesterday I got the honor to sit beside the finance head of Middle East, right? Yeah, and he was telling me that Binance 1 hour trading volume is 1 billion USD, right? I think we should ask them to educate the mass market instead, So hopefully they'll do a good job. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Yuen. All right, how about Rommel?
Alright, so I think I had a conversation before with one of a friend of mine that actually asked me how can we really adopt more people turn into GameFi, but not only a GameFi, but also into crypto space. So for me, I really believe in education. Having the knowledge is really for me, I have this saying, knowledge is dollars, right? So if you have this knowledge, you can turn this into idea, you can turn this into money by learning the crypto project. And for me, I just have a message with those influencers out there that really been there just to hype a project. Please stop doing that. You're not educating the people in a right way. You're just been there to shield a project for your own profit because you get paid, or you just been there in the beginning and then shielding the project that, oh, this is good, massive, going to the moon. Please stop doing that. Let's educate our community into the right way by learning them. And GameFi is just one venue for our 3 billion gamers around the world, or 4 billion gamers around the world, to turn them to Web3 gamers by educating them into the right way. And being partner also with our local governments to create a program to do this, and also with one of our esports event company in the Philippines that will help us to achieve this goal from education of the Web2 gamers into Web3 gamers. That's more important of what we're looking for. Right now, our project is really self-funded. We're building our project in order for us to really give value to the community. My own company is actually funding this project and to really create something. And when I saw Gems, this actually similar something that we're also doing to really educate our and salute to this group, right? To this project. They're startup, we're startup, but we're here to make a difference in this world, to really put value to the community. Because as I've said it earlier, we need to go back to the intent and why why blockchain was created. So I think that's going.
Really valuable. Because yes, according to what he said, for all of the influencers out there, stop shilling when it comes to just being paid because of the project, just wanted to. It's not the right way of marketing. You know, with all of the clients that we have in Block Tides, I always tell them, what's your intention, what's your goal? And I really don't pay, especially in Place War. I don't want to pay YouTubers, I don't want to pay Twitter KOLs just to promote our project, to be honest. So that's the reason why we also built this Metaverse Nova Idol later, 5 p.m. We taught them NFT, we taught them personal branding, we taught them how to do live streaming, and at the same time, we taught them how to be valuable themselves. Because you know, being valuable, it's really about how you'll be valuable in this space. How you can contribute with value, and at the same time, community building. There's 300 300 applicants for Metaverse Nova Idol. They're really interested in knowing the technology because it creates a lot of opportunities, to be honest. So yeah, let's go to Ducky. How can we create mass adoption, not just in GameFi, blockchain space?
Most important is the education, because all the users in the world, only 10% knew about the cryptocurrency, and out of them, very few uses it actually. They don't know about the MetaMask, they don't know about how to use it, how to buy tokens, how to cash it out, and to make gaming widespread and more adoption, there should be a gaming age, because gaming like games like X Infinity, they have like initial boost of $500-600 to start with. So if there are gaming guilds who can provide the sponsorships or scholarships, that it will be easy for users to come by, because a new user cannot spend too much money on the skins or on the gaming elements, NFTs. So this is the important point, because to make it widespread, to make it more adaptive, there should be easy to access for users. And there are almost 300 billion plus revenues in the gaming industry, and it is increasing almost 10% each year. So there is a big way to go, but crypto is growing slowly. As with it, like gaming, metaverse, NFTs, and Web3 other projects will grow with it.
Thank you so much, Lucky. Very nice perspective. So Vincent?
Yeah, so I'll just keep my answer short. So first thing is that you need to think about what do an average Joe, like average person, spend these 24 hours a day, right? Most of the time, well, 8 hours definitely I'm sleeping. Yeah, so let's leave it aside. So most of the times are like you either like studying, you're working, right? What about the rest of the time you spend it on your phone? Right? You probably check out YouTube, you check out the TikTok, like videos, content, right? Like reading or that kind of stuff. Then some others, you may spend most of your time gaming, right? Like playing Mobile Legends or LOL or whatever other PUBG, that kind of things. So basically, these are the mainstream kind of niche that. We can actually find a good bridge for Web3, right? If that's a mass adoption bridge, it has to happen in any of this kind of silos or the niches, rather than some more novelty kind of niches that are created only to the Web3 native people. Then the second thing is that we do need to, I think this is a responsibility for all the project teams, no matter they are big or small, onboarding, user experience. I think most of the people here would agree that now the Web3 applications for now, in general the user experience is really underperforming, right? Like it's not friendly. If that's the case, you can't expect everyone to be like just a Web3 native overnight, or like be just a genius to stop. Somehow I just stop knowing how to use MetaMask overnight, right? It's not going to happen. You need to structure your community, your go-to-market strategy in that way. That is so user-friendly that you can onboard the next 1 million users. That is the way to go. Thanks.
Nice perspective. Also in place where actually we tried experimenting, to be honest, when it comes to education. So it was held last 2 weeks ago. We've done an esports for Metaverse Nova Idol, and they're really having fun. They're not actually, it's just an activity. They don't know it's play to earn. I just taught them it's a game. Try playing it. And all of them, if you can see our social media contents, it provides education. Especially shout out to all of the project owners there. You need to provide education when it comes to what are we actually really doing. So to wrap this up, last question. Where is Gamefi heading? Let's start with Joanna. Let's keep it short and simple to wrap it up. Where does Gamefi heading in the future?
Okay, for this hiding, right, in the future, so for this one, I think this is what we normally talk about previously already. So first is like the demand about the funding about this game fund, and then next one I think is we need to attract the audience and users. Yeah. Meanwhile, we also need to understand the risks and how to avoid that to protect our size. Yeah, because normally for NFT or GameFi, we all will be more. One is to understand or take our times to make fun, right? The other one is also will be earn something during this period. So after all, we need to ensure and guarantee that our size is safety to that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Yuen?
I personally believe that GameFi will be back, with a loud bang, because from how I see it, right, last year I was very naive. I don't know much about GameFi, but one project came to me with a nice deck, I look at it, wow, nice pictures, right? I was like, they asked me for help, to be honest, they said, hey, we got this deck nicely done, but we don't know how to raise private fund, right? So I said, oh, okay, let me help you on this, right? And I became the advisor, I invested. Only then I knew that they only had a deck. No MVP, no this, everything, right? So I even pulled my friend from the founder of a Sandbox to be their advisor. The project went crazy. To be honest, it went on KuCoin. I think you know which project, but
I think I know that.
Yeah. So they went 650x, right? And I was like, wow, okay, that's very interesting, right? But if I know what I know now, I think I might not have invested in them, right? So because they don't even have a workable MVP. So that was the situation in a crazy bull market, right? People went crazy, But now I see a lot of games, right? They have a very nice design, well thought of, and there are also many Web2 games. They are trying to convert into Web3, right? So I do believe the second spring of GameFi will arrive, And also, just take a notice, right? Even some of the big boys are coming in, right? So I invested in another project, right? I think I can name it, It's Cross the Ages. So I invested quite early, then Sandbox invested, Animoca invested, and Ubisoft also invested. So Ubisoft is obviously a big boy, right, in the gaming sector. So from that, we know that even the big boys are watching, right? And I also believe that why Microsoft acquired, Activision and Blizzard and all this, I think because they also know that GameFi is the best avenue to go into Metaverse. So I do believe, let's all just be patient. The spring will be here soon. Thank you.
Let's make it quick.
Yes, so GameFi just got started. Just done warming up with the last bull run. So I think a lot of good project will come out in the next cycle of the market. So watch out for those projects who's really started during the bear market, because they build and focus on the foundation and not on getting money from the market and really building the quality product. So watch out for that, guys. Do your research now so you will be benefit from the next cycle. So GameFi for me in the next 3 to 5 years will still be huge, because as you can see by the numbers, 3 to 4 billion users are there. So imagine acquiring those into Web3.
Thank you. Lucky?
I think GameFi is just getting started and it's heading to the right way, because there are like more than 2000% activity increment in 2022, and with the passage of time, because market is hold down because of the inflation situation, because of the war situation, so whole market is down, not just the GameFi but the other sectors as well. So with the time, when we see the new cycles, new money coming up in the market, and new people get to aware about the GameFi space, Metaverse space, and in future when there will be like more Metaverse and more GameFi and more NFTs element, so they will be integrated, then we will see the more adoptions, and games like Axie Infinity, Sandbox, Wilder World, these Metaverse and gaming projects are like driving billions of funds to the crypto industry. So that's really good.
Thank you. And lastly, Vincent.
Yeah, I completely agree with all the other guest speakers said. So yeah, it's all just getting started. But I mean, like it may come back in a way that we cannot recognize, right? The future of the GameFi may not be the ones that we know as it is today, right? So basically, as I remember, like there was a Peter Thiel or Tim Draper said that if something is not new stuff is not 10 times better than its counterpart in the older age, then people would not jump ship, right? So we must, like first think about and also focus on the core competence of the GameFi or Web3 gaming. What we do 10 times better than the Web3 gamers, right? What is that? And if we can think through it, we can figure out our own answer, then okay, so that is going to be the future of the Web3 gaming. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone, and this ends the panel for today. Sure, guys, picture.